friends incarcerated, and most of them gave up 16, 15, 12 years of their life. And one thing that kept me focused was like, as crazy as it sounds, I looked at my life out here as if I was doing a bid. Never did a bid in my life, but it kept me motivated to focus on what I needed to do. And I looked at every day as a bid. I couldn't fuck around, excuse my language. I couldn't mess around and sacrifice what my mother had given me, which was much. Like my mother would say, I gave you that body you have. I gave you that bed you're sleeping on. Right? I gave you that bathtub where you can take a bath. And I gave you that food that's on that plate. Anything else than that, you gotta work for it, right? Having no direction, right? My father wasn't a real big influence in my life, but I did have people in my life who were big influences. Like my godfather, may he rest in peace. I had cousins in the Dominican Republic and in Puerto Rico who also, give me good advice and try to keep me in the right track. I mean, enough, many of those guys who are no longer with me at this time, they weren't living the right path and they weren't doing the right thing. So, because we have kids, we need to always keep that in mind. How do we keep our kids from danger, right? How do we keep our kids from making the bad choices in life? Especially now when we have something called social media and it's affecting our kids, right? When I gave my daughter a cell phone at the age of 12, because her mother wouldn't let me talk to her, I didn't know the dangers that were coming, right? I didn't know what it was to have social media, I didn't know the impact it was going to have on my daughter, down to her questioning her weight, questioning her heritage, questioning what she wore, what she studied. The cool wasn't cool anymore. Many of us didn't grow up with that. I first said, I'm 47 years old, and I didn't grow up with social media. I grew up in an era where I was told you don't want anyone to know anything, right? You want to stay under the radar because when you get a job, they're going to look this up. They're going to look up your social media. They're going to find out what you said, and you see it now. You see when Kevin Hart was about to do the Oscars, they pull up all types of stuff he said as a joke. And is it because he's African American? Crystal says a lot of Jewish jokes. He's Jewish, but they only seem to pick on the ones they want to pick on. So that's also something that we're going to talk about here: the disparities of being Latino, being African American in today's society, and the uphill battles that we have to kind of overcome in order to get to where we want to go. Now we're talking about generational wealth. We're talking about entrepreneurship. We're talking about creating businesses and organizations. That's why when you see a James running a Young Man's Initiative program as executive director, it kind of gives me goosebumps because that's a young black man doing the right thing. And he's doing the right thing, helping the people that he knows best and we know best. People of our community. When people ask me, why are you always doing this? You go work somewhere else, you do something. I enjoy working with people in my community. I feel like we understand each other and I can be honest with you and not feel threatened. Other places, the demeanor, the expression, the way we communicate is looked at differently. That's why I say it takes us to know us. So moving into the next chapter of our lives, when we look at Youth Justice Network, our mission is really just to break cycles of incarceration and build an equitable justice system by providing young people and families with individualized advocacy, mentorship, and the opportunities to grow, thrive, and lead. We fight for every individual person who walks through our doors to realize their power, their voice, and their full potential. And we promote change not only in each individual's lives, but in the racist systems that lead to their incarceration and their separation from their families. We are committed to this day that not a single person should spend another night in jail, and we join the movement to dismantle racism and inequality in the justice system. How do we do that? I'm not a lawyer, nor do I pretend to be one. Nor is the staff at Friends to Fathers or Youth Justice any lawyers. but we know the law, and we know how to connect you to services and people that can help you. Everyone that comes to the program is assessed individually, right? Not every case is the same, but we all talk to you in the same tone and in the same manner, and we run our groups in the same way. Because it doesn't matter where you come from or what happened, it doesn't matter where you're gonna go and how you're gonna get there. You know what I mean? It took me a minute to kind of figure that out, but our goal is to help you get there. And then once you figure it out, you pass that information on to your family, you pass that on to your friends. Everyone that wants to listen, that is willing to listen, you give them that good advice, right? Because at the end of the day, this fatherhood program isn't for everybody. You know, we don't take everyone that we interview and we accept the referral from. Why is that? Because not everyone's prepared to make changes in their life. We meet people where they're at. You know, if you're not ready, I can't help you. You know, if you're not ready to help yourself, I can't help you. You know, you gotta be ready to take this on and move forward and do the right thing for yourself and for your kids, right? Everyone here is here because they love their kids. I bet you if I can tell you right now, what's your most favorite thing for your children? What's their most favorite character? What's their most favorite toy? Everybody have an answer, right? What's your child's favorite toy at 12 years old? Yeah. Spider-Man. Spider-Man. I know Spider-Man. What's your child's favorite character on TV?
Sophia.
Who?
Sophia. Princess Sophia.
Sophia. Look at that.
But she was still small. Right now it's a soul.
What about you? Louis.
Oh,
Look at that. You know, knowing that is saying a lot. It's saying that you're connecting with your kids. And that's what's lacking nowadays. You know, we're doing way better than our parents did. Right? And then hats off to that.
Yeah.
Right? When I tell, I wish I still had the opportunity to speak to my mother. She was always challenging me. When I speak to my dad, I'm like, the other day he called me, he's like, I'm like eating spaghetti. He called me. I was a little upset because my birthday was on the 18th. He didn't call me for my birthday, right? So he called me and said, hey, what's going on? I said, hey, what's up, Dad? How you feeling? I said, nothing much. I see you eating spaghetti. I said, yeah, I just got home, tired. It's the quickest thing I can make. You know, he's like, yeah, you shouldn't be eating that because your heart is this. Oh, look at you. Now you want to give me advice, huh? 70-something years old, and now you want to tell me what to eat. I said, well, I figure I got another 3 more years and then I can go vegan after that at 50. Let me eat what I want right now, It's too late to go back and make vegetables. So he started laughing, chuckled a little bit, and we started talking about, the past. And I said, listen, I was waiting for you to call me for my birthday. And he goes, when was your birthday? I said, I'm gonna let that pass. You're 76 years old. But the reality is, you never know. I haven't got a call for my birthdays in years. And I'm okay with that because I understand that my father's life growing up was very difficult. He's of Dominican descent, came here when he was young, 8, 9, or 12 brothers and sisters, and he was the oldest out of all of them. He had to fight for plates, usually the younger ones got all the food. And I can imagine growing up what that was like, in those times, so he ended up migrating to New York, ended up paying something like about $40,000, $50,000 to get here, opened up businesses in East Tremont, got robbed a couple times, made his mark in the restaurant business, and then ended up going back to DR, where he's there to this day, living it up. I don't know how he's living it up, I don't know how much money he made, but he made enough money that he could just chill and live off his land, man. And I take that blueprint and I say, I too want to live off the land, man. I can't see myself in New York any much longer after 60 anyway, right? Because it's getting too damn expensive here. And, I want to I'm here for my daughter, honestly. Every day I get up, I come to work, I help, and I do what I can, really, just to go back home and make sure my daughter's doing what she needs to do. Eventually, her time will come, and she will carry the torch and do what she needs to do. And as a father, that's my goal. Help her get to the next level, whatever that level is, right? We want to see our kids succeed. We want our kids to reach comfort, right? Be able to pay their expenses, be able to save their little money, be able to go on vacation, travel, right? Life's about traveling. Life isn't just about playing the block. Life's about traveling, life's about experience, life's about joy, life's about happiness and sadness, right? It's all those emotions tied into one that create us and give us individualism, right? We talk about welcome. Welcome. No, no worries.
Big school.
Sit up front. You guys want?
Huge school.
I want to say that. Sit up front, please. They used to tell me that. Nice to get to me. I graduated from here. I was in the car. Sleep over there. Nodding off. They would tell me, yo, sit up front. But this fatherhood initiative, it started off way back. I would say about 25 years ago. And it started off in the little community center up in Bronx Park East on Allenton. And, you know, we were there, not me, but the people that were there, we do resumes, and we would help people in the community connect with jobs and look for apartments and, you know, really working with the residents, the kids. And you see how kind of the cycle still continues, right? You know, when we look at today's children, you know, a lot of them are still in the hood. A lot of them are still living off of their parents. Some of us are still there as well. And the goal is to get out, you know, become independent, and you want to do that successfully. So what does that look like? Well, it starts off with the basics, right? Getting your proper documentation, birth certificate, social security card, you know, and then kind of meet with somebody, a mentor, and figuring out what's in the books for me. Obviously, criminal justice background does play a factor. That's what holds a lot of us back in seeking these types of jobs that eventually can promote us and give us, you know, equity and funds to kind of give us the opportunity to gain what the American dream is. You know, I don't believe the American dream is no longer a picket fence and a house. It's having an apartment and living and paying your bills and not being stressed out. You know, if you have an apartment, you pay your rent, you're not broke, you can buy yourself some food, buy yourself some clothes. You want to go to New Orleans, you can be out and you're winning, you know. But if you are going through trials and tribulations, you're in a toxic relationship, you're fighting for custody with your kids, you know, you kind of have an idea of where you want to go, right? It's going to take some time, but you too will get there, right? Because initially when we get through this program, over the years, we've gotten through these doors, and like right now, over the years, it's grown, right? So we initially started with 180 fathers. Now we're up to 378 fathers for the year, right? 378 fathers for the year, 18 and up, who reside in one of the 5 New York City boroughs. And our mission is to help support all non-custodial fathers interested in developing healthy relationships with their children and or partners through positive parenting. What is positive parenting? Can anybody tell me? What does anybody think positive parenting would be?
Things to help your children progress, leading them down in the right direction.
Absolutely. Being that role model, right? Positive parenting. You know, I didn't realize what positive parenting was until I became a parent. And I knew that my mother hated me to death. You know, when my daughter's mother was pregnant, she had something called postpartum depression. After she gave birth, I became from the love of her life to #1 target. I was the one to blame. I was the one, you know, woman that I would walk in and, you know, I'm feeling funky when I come home from work. That smell was like eternity for her. As soon as she gave birth, she was, oh, we're thinking bad. I'm just thinking, you know, and I wasn't accustomed to hearing that. So I became a battered husband. And it get to the point that I said, I can't do this anymore. As much as I love my family, as much as I love my daughter, I need to recognize how I feel. And it was the hardest decision of my life to walk away, but I said, if love really prevails, we'll be back together. It did not. You know, 1 week led to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. And when we tried to reconcile, the attitude and the behavior was still there. And one thing I did not want to do was, I didn't want to get arrested for domestic violence, because I knew that if that came, my chances of engaging with my daughter will be prolonged. But guess what? We had an argument, cops were called, I was separated, and lo and behold, my journey through this father system began. Prior to that, I worked with youth. I was in the juvenile jail, I was a CO, and I connected with these kids in Westchester County, and it was amazing work until they told me, you're too calm with these kids. You gotta put them down. You gotta restrain them. You gotta use your size. And I said, I don't do that. I don't need to put my hands on these kids. Because I would see these kids on day visits. They would come to my community, and they were from where I was from. I knew some of their relatives. You know, the Bronx is very small. And if you're from the Bronx, you pretty much know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. You know what I mean? Funerals I've been to where someone killed someone, that's like, oh, they were in the same circle as friends. Right? So when I decided to stand up against the system, I immediately got fired. It was the hardest day of my life, because my daughter was just born. And I was like, what am I gonna do now that I got fired? So I focused on school, little jobs here and there, nothing where I could say I was happy, and I got put on child support. So the child support came in, visitation restrictions came in, I was feeling down and out. I was upset, I wanted to fight, I wanted to tweak, I wanted to just forget about everything and go against the grain. And my mother, being who she was, always knew how to keep her baby cool, calm, and collected, you know, through supportive parenting, right? Positive parenting. That is what the motto of Friends and Fathers is, positive parenting. You know, we want you to understand it's okay to be upset. We want you to understand that it's okay to go through hard times. We want you to understand that this is just temporary. This too shall pass. And when it does, if you're taking the appropriate steps and measures to get to where you need to go, you will get there, right? Because the system doesn't want to keep you away from the kids. But they need to know, are your kids in good hands when they're with you? Because I always tell fathers, they don't know nothing about you. All they know is what they see on this little piece of paper in front of their desk when they're in the courtroom looking at you, as I'm looking at you right now. And when they look at this paper, they say, oh, this father allegedly smacked the mother, allegedly did this to this, allegedly scumbag or whatever. So in participating in the program and gaining a better perspective of what's causing the stress in our lives, we support that, and we also give you ways to kind of deal with these situations in a positive light, right? We don't want no stress, because we know what stress brings. We don't want no conflict, because we know what conflict brings. More and more separation. Separation from your family, separation from your kids. And then there are the other stakeholders that come into play when situations arise, right? ECS, probation, criminal court, family court, you know, stages in different levels where it might seem confusing, you know, and us as individuals end up getting further and further away from what we're trying to achieve because we don't have no grasp and real understanding of what the process is like. But it's just a process, right? It's a process, it's a well-oiled machine that's been doing this for years. Now the system needs to be revamped. We know this. The system needs to change. This is what this is all about, change. This conference, programs such as these and other programs like the Young Men's Initiative, the City of New York and Fortune, Forestdale, Rising Ground, all these agencies that hire are hired through contracts in the city that provide jobs for me, you, and others that want to do this work so that we can support people in our community that are going through this situation. Over the years, it has grown. It started off as a fatherhood, but it's growing more and more every year. It's growing to that now we're going to be working with mothers. Because fathers are like, listen, I'm I'm the one getting all this training. What about mom? So there's that syndrome. Now there's also the stepkids, right? But the stepkids are the issue because they don't really gel well with the stepdad. So now we're gonna be focusing on families as well. So in order for this to happen, we need to have conferences like this to get ACS involved, to get the criminal court involved, to get foster care agencies involved. Because we need to all kind of connect to one another. We need to meet, to share what experiences are going on. Like, one of the things we always tell you guys is let us know what's going on. Whatever you're not happy about in your visit, whatever you're not happy about in your criminal court case, whatever you're not happy about in your family court case, let us know so that when we meet with these people, we can express to them your concerns. We are your voice until your voice is completely heard. And by that time, what we do is we hope that everything is resolved and we can interact with your kids on a regular basis. But it starts from the ground up. It starts from us understanding who you are individually. You know, we all have different temperaments. We all come from different backgrounds. Some of us are more passionate than others about the situation. And with that said, we want to make sure that we understand that we don't go overboard in expressing our concerns with these stakeholders who are here to really help us, not keep us away from our kids, right? Our goal, right? All children should have the love, care, emotional, and financial support of both parents, right? Like I said, I grew up in a single family household. Most of my cousins grew up with both parents. You see the disparity, you see what, the numbers really don't lie, right? Some of the issues single parent households face, and I'm always a big rebuttal type of, I always try to go against the grain. So when I was in East College back in 2005, and the teacher would say something like, well, single family households, the children are most likely to end up getting locked up by the age of 15, 16. Single family households, children are least likely to end up going to high school, competing in high school, than someone who has both parents. And I would say that's bullshit. Right? Because it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter what's outside your door. My mother used to say, as soon as you walk in this house, this is where love is at. You can live in the worst neighborhood in the world, but as soon as you walk in your house, that's where love is at. Don't care what's going on out there. You gotta worry about what's going on in here. You know, so when my mother would say, clean your room, I couldn't get no lawyer to help me debate that. I had to clean my room. You know, my mother said, yo, help your brother out, and I had to follow suit, you know, because, you know, those times were much more innocent, but it was much more stern. And a lot of you fathers and groups, when we talk about this, we say those, you know, we always compare and contrast, and we say, those years were good because mom, you know, my mother had a belt, and she would hang it. So whenever I walked through the door, the first thing I saw was that belt. And she called it La Chula. So whenever she would say, yo, go get La Chula, I already knew what it was. I'm like, Mom, please. 11 and 10 years old, trying to ask her not to. No, you deserve it. Go get La Chula. Yeah, we started.
Oh, you started
Yeah,
already?
okay.
Okay.
We're good. We're good. Thank you. You can stay if you want to.
Because I gotta like.
What do you think? Okay, let's name down. Let's name down. Yeah, so my mother would play with that chula, and the chula was a form of, like, okay, you want your father? That's your father right there. You know, like, you know, and I'm not afraid to use it. You know, I remember one time at 6 years old, there was no cell phones, no beepers, it was nothing. It was a big phone, if you remember. And if you had that, you was somebody.
Yeah.
Right? My mother had that. We had the long cord that she could walk around the house and it would tangle everybody from the cat to the dog to the grandmother. Everybody and their mother got tangled on that. So I decided to go to Orchard Beach with my friends and their family without telling my mother, 6 years old. Woo. So I didn't get back. And I remember my friend his father had a Cadillac. I was, 6 years old, I rarely got into any cars. If you remember, I'm 47. So the Bronx at that time was worse. Everything was rubber. Unless you knew how to break dance, then you were good. But everything else was rubber. So here I am, my mother's like, where the hell's my son? Because my mother had to think, you go outside and play. When that light come on,
She's like, come on, you better.
when I didn't come home, she's like, wait a minute.
Not when it
Where's
turns
my
on,
son?
before it turns on.
She's outside going back, going crazy. She called the cops and the man, you gotta wait 24 hours before we report your son missing. She's crying and she's suppressing herself. And then my friend goes, get back at midnight in Orchard Beach. I got a food ready. They treated me good. His family, to this day, we're still friends. But I remember driving past my mother's building and looking at my mother in front of her, and her eyes immediately locked on. I don't know if she smelled me like a shark. I'm lying in front. But I remember my mother's eyes locked on me in that back seat. I already knew. For some reason, I knew what was coming. Yeah.
It wasn't La Chulita, it was the La Chulita.
Exactly. So when I get upstairs, first of all, my cousin who was with me, some Durian, his mother was also. So it was like the Legion of Doom versus 1, 2, 3 kid and somebody else, right? So, but he was fast. So he kind of worked around his mother, went around and ran upstairs, but he still couldn't get away. Couldn't get away.
It's tomorrow.
Yep.
It's always tomorrow.
So I lived in 2F, he lived in 2H. It was just a matter of who was screaming louder. You would think we were singers, because of the amount of pain we had. And I remember that's the only time my mother cried when she hit me, because she didn't want to hit me. And I remember looking at her, and she said, when I go to bed, I went to bed. The next day I had school, it was a Sunday. Next day I had to go to school, and I remember going to school. I remember going to teach, like, my mother hit me. And then teacher told me, pick up your pants. Don't nobody want to see that. I swear to God. The teacher was like, pick up your pants. Don't nobody want to see that. Maybe you deserved it. And I said, oh, this is different. So I knew I can't do that to mom no more. That was the last time my mother ever hit me, because that's the last time she ever had to hit me. I knew for a fact that I must have put her through some fear. Now, fast forward to me being a parent, I fear every day. My daughter's a beautiful young lady. She's 19 years old. And if I could hold her hand and take her everywhere, I would do it every day. But I can't. Because it gets to the point as parents, you gotta let your kids fly. You gotta let your kids, I mean, you guys all did, right? Your parents don't hold your hands no more. Right? You know, the worry that we have as parents is incredible. You know, the fear, you know, that we have, because if you're born and raised in New York, you know what New York is. And every day I tell my daughter I love her, because I don't know if I'm gonna make it back home. You know what I mean? So I tell her every day that I love her, and I tell her every day that I'm proud of her, but she don't understand that yet. She's like, oh, please, Dad, come on, sell me some money. Tell me some money. You know, so regardless of whether the parents live together or not, we want to promote responsible fathers. Right? Responsible fathers who play a key role in child development, family economic success. We want to focus on helping to create strong families and stronger families to lead to good outcomes for children, generation after generation after generation. You know, you may not think so, but you guys play a key role to the future of our kids. I see too many kids out here subway surfing, risking their lives. And then when something happens, they put a nice, cute little picture of them. And the parents are like, oh, my son. I wonder, where were you before that happened? Did you know your son was doing this? Did you know your daughter was doing this? how connected are you to your kids? You talk to them, I talk to my daughter. I try to be there. She may not agree, but I can be very annoying at times, I'm sure some of you might agree, right? But when we talk about our kids, fathers need to take, a very personable responsibility for their children. Right? You need to make this a priority. Right? This is a 24/7 job until the job is done. When is the job done? Never. To this day, I still give my father a hug and a kiss. My uncles who are in their 80s, I still go and I pay my respects and I say hello and I give them, bendición, which is a form of greeting that us Spanish people have towards our elders. And I check in with him, and if he says something, I listen. Even though I know you can't whip me like you whipped me when I was young, but you old, fam, but I respect him. And that's when they know they raised a good kid. When you give them that respect. He loves fruit, so every time I go see him, I take him some fruit. I end up eating the fruit, obviously. At least I'm partaking of it, which is a good thing. Again, taking a personal responsibility for their children and have the necessary resources to fulfill their parenting roles. This is 2025. There are resources out there that we also help connect families to. Remember that when we meet you and we meet fathers that we work with, they're not just coming through our doors. Unfortunately, we don't have too many that walk in our door and say, hey, I heard about the program. I want to be part of this, right? We usually get them because they've been referred to us through the criminal court, through family court, through ACS, through foster care agencies, Department of Probation, with something that they want you to focus on. They deem us as difficult to work with. They deem us as challenging individuals. But in my mind, it's because you don't know us. You don't know what we've been through. You don't know our struggle. And let alone, who are we to tell you that? You're part of the system. You're part of the problem. When fathers come to us, listen, I'm not part of the problem. I'm part of, hopefully, the solution. So let's figure out how can we help you, right? One of the best jobs I ever had, other than this one, was working at Home Depot. You know Home Depot?
Yeah.
Home Depot is a good place to start, for me, at least, because I got to work with people, all types of people, Black, white, Asian, Indian, Chinese, Italian, Greek, all types of people coming into those doors eating products. And prior to that, I was just a kid from the Bronx who really didn't come out the Bronx and really didn't know what was out there other than what I saw in Puerto Rico or what I saw in the Dominican Republic. So when I got to interact with these people, I'm like, damn, Jewish people funny, right? African Americans are cool, right? I grew up in a certain type of household where I wasn't seeing these people every day, unless you went out into the world. And my mother was very, very homey, very secretive, very private in her life because we were broke. Product of welfare. That cheese, that brick cheese, that was real. Never expired. Never expired. There was no expiration. I remember I handed my refrigerator to the other day. I'm like, damn, this is 78. I used to use it as plaster for the wall, like. But those were good times. That cheese made many grilled cheeses. Delicious.
Best grilled cheese you ever had in your life.
And the powder
Huh? Eggs. Especially with eggs being so expensive.
The meat candy.
I'm going vegan in 3 years, so that's it. But I say that because look how far we've come. There were no resources back then. Nothing. It was hard for a 14-year-old kid to find a job. I think when I got a job at 16, my minimum wage was $7 an hour, and I was working at Woolworth. You know Woolworth?
A lot of people remember that name.
$7 an hour. Just think about that. How much you make now? What's the minimum wage now?
16.
I was making $16 back then. I have businesses right now. I'll be an entrepreneur. But it just goes to show you how far we've come. And I don't want to stay away from what this conversation is heading, but you know, everything changes in time. And you see it in the amount of fathers that are now more attentive than ever. You see it when fathers go to PTS meetings with the teachers. And you know, I remember going to Sesame Street and being the only father in front row with my daughter. Sesame Street Live. You've never taken your kids there. Please, I encourage you. And I guarantee you get front row seats. Make everybody nervous. That's what I did. I had a big Elmo t-shirt on. I had a book bag. So I could, this is where the practice comes. I had a big book bag so I could put my daughter's coat. Because I learned.
She going
I learned. First time I went, I was like, coat, I got popcorn, I got a soda. And she looking at me like, I want to go home. I'm like, no, we just spent $8 on a soda, $15 on a popcorn, $25 on a little thing that lights up. And then Elmo comes out and she starts crying. Oh man. So everybody looks at me like, what did he do? Because that's how we go. So you know, when I get nervous, I sweat. You guys make me feel comfortable. Thank you. So I remember sweating, I remember being in the front row, and I don't mean to say it, but I was the darkest one there. Just think about that. And I remember saying, okay, come on, let's go. You know, we went to excuse me, we get to the side, and I'm like, what's the matter? Like, I miss mommy. I said, you miss your mom? I said, I had a phone there. I said, let's record a little message you can send her. She said, mommy, come get me. Elmo is scary. So this is where I had to learn about how to keep my emotions, because I really got upset. You know, not with her, but with myself, because I was like, am I doing something wrong? Here I am going on my way, take my daughter to this experience, and she's not really appreciating it. So I knew I couldn't spaz on her because it wasn't, of course, she was scared. But I really knew that I had to help her gain a better understanding of what was happening. And this is where the communication is very important. I was able to convey to my daughter that day that even though her mother wasn't there physically, I was here to record the event and show her that she had a wonderful time. Mine, right? Because at that age, when you're like 5, 4, you know, you gotta kind of think of what that mind is, you know. And getting up every day at the age of 4, it's all about cartoons and, you know, food, snacks, naps. So I said, how can I talk to my daughter so she understands that I give myself a breather? Right now I'm feeling like I do all this for nothing. And it was my first dad lesson. Like I said, prior to that, I was carrying stuff, and I said, I've come such a long way. I got a book bag, I put her stuff in there, put my stuff in there, threw it on the floor because that's where book bags go. And she can sit comfortably. And I said, wow, I can't go this. I gotta figure out how to keep calm in this situation, man. Like everybody's staring at me, my daughter's like, ah! And I'm just in the front row looking at Elmo. Elmo's like, I don't know what you're gonna do, Chad. I'm here to sing, dance, you know, so I'm just like, Elmo, you ain't helping me out. Looking too scary, so I don't recommend the front row for any Radio City Elmo event. But you know, took her to the bathroom, we were able to calm her down, a little water, cold water, help her calm down. I said, I need to go back. She ended up running down there, she knew where the seat was at, and we ended up having a wonderful time. I still got the videos, and I play it to her, just to remind her what she put me through during that age. Because sometimes you forget. You know, my daughter's 19 now, beautiful 19-year-old, and I tell her every day, I said, sometimes I gotta pop that laptop open and show her these videos of just how bossy she was. And I was like, it was cute when you was little. You know, now not so cute. You know what I mean? So check that. you know. But it's a good relationship, and it's a relationship that I won't trade for the world. You know, her mother ended up moving to North Carolina, and is a testament to just how much I've been there. My daughter said, "I'm gonna stay with you, Dad." Which kind of threw a wrench in my whole single life thing. It was nice living alone for the amount of years that I did. But I was willing to say, okay, you got your own home, go ahead, do your thing. There became the second chapter of fatherhood for me that I was not aware of. See, it's one thing when you got your kids and you say you borrowed them.
Yeah.
It's another thing when they live with you. Right? Some of the things that you're accustomed to,
Can't do it no more.
you know, you gotta check that fire stick.
With
So that fire stick is not.
With that parental control,
You gotta get accustomed to dishes being in the sink.
when you come home.
Right? And when you tell them, hey, can you wash the dishes that you left? I'll get to it, Dad. Gotta wait. You know, I don't have no patience. I do it myself. That's why my hands are so soft now. Palmolive really works, man. My hands are really, really soft. At least that's what they tell me. But I remember, like, my mother telling me the same thing. But my mother did it differently. My mother would get up Saturday morning, 8 o'clock. The smell of sofrito in the air, right? Seasoning in the air. And she'll open up my shades. Open up. Say, yo, take them sheets off, take them curtains off. Open up a window, it smells like ass. Open it! And I'll be like, damn, I'm sleeping, I'm tired. Okay, get up.
GI.
All right, I have to change the sheets, 8 o'clock, militant, no problem. And she knew we have to go wash. My daughter said, come on, we're gonna go wash today. I'll meet you there. All right, I'll be in the laundry, drying, folding, like, hey, you coming? I'll be right there. By the time I'm ready, I'll
By the
close
time
the
you're
nice
ready,
folded. But it's something that, as a father, like I said, I'm not accustomed to, and I'm gonna miss when the time comes that she gets married and she's off to her own work. Because this too will pass. You know what I'm saying? So when my daughter says, "How much again I'm gonna get when you die?" I say, "Well, wait and figure it out. You gotta wait." And you get it, you get it. And since you get it, because I might spend it all. I might be, you know, what's that when you get to that midlife crisis?
You're gonna be doing
Might buy a Corvette, you never know, you know?
Bucket list.
Exactly, you know. But again, for this to happen, you know, fathers need to acknowledge paternity. That's something that many of us don't even do. You know, many fathers I've worked with who are not on birth certificates, right? They figure it's a way of dodging child support. If that's the mentality you have off the drip, that's not a good way to start fatherhood. I mean, you want to claim what's yours. Get a DNA test. Claim what's yours if you have any doubt. We always encourage fathers to do it. You don't know how many fathers we've had in this program where we've had to be the burden of bad news. It's heartbreaking when you find out that child you've been raising for 6, 7 years is not yours. You know, it happened with a lot of my undocumented individuals that I work with who come here from other countries. Who go to other countries, seek marriage, come back, bringing their wife and their children, and then later finding out these kids are not theirs. But as a parent, I can't imagine what that would feel like. You know, we gotta be smarter as families. And like I said, this day and age, things have changed so much. Resources are so available that this is where we come in to bring that insight into these communities and let you guys know we're here to help. Right? We're not here to make anything any more complicated than it already is. Access to jobs, access to legal services, housing, food, clothing, right? Mental health services, co-parenting classes, anger management courses. Domestic, I had no idea what domestic violence was until I learned what it was. I didn't know I was a victim of domestic violence until I read on it. But I also didn't know that I was also contributing to domestic violence until I understood it. You know, many of us, we're in relationships where we're not as open and honest as we can be or speak up. We communicate as effective as we should. And it creates the tension, it creates problems. And the facts are the facts. Children that grow up in these areas and these homes and are part of this, either in the next room or in the household, are affected by this behavior. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I don't care if we say the kid was in the next room, he heard us arguing. You know, he heard us cursing at each other. You know, he heard when the TV broke, or you know, it can get ugly, and we know this, right? But it doesn't have to get to that point. You know, us as fathers need to understand what our roles are, and in that role, the main thing is we're educators, right? Your audience are your kids. Every way you respond, the kids are gonna, like a sponge, take it in. They're gonna respond in their individual situation like that. Remember, they go to school, they interact with other kids. You know, my daughter was gonna interact with his son. Right? I told my daughter no fighting. Maybe he doesn't tell his son no fighting. He hits my daughter, right? His son fights, knows how to, you know. In my house, I never let my daughter watch wrestling. I never gave her dolls. Because I didn't want to program her to think that this was, and that's what something I read a long time ago. Like, you know, when you give your kids too many dolls, kind of programming her to say, well, motherhood is in your future, obviously, but this is what you're destined to now. I gave my daughter coloring books, I gave her instruments, I let her yell from the top of her lungs. I may regret it now because she's what it is, so fiery. And she hears me say that, she's gonna be like, Dad, go back. But, you know, I wanted her to feel like it's an open canvas and you can draw whatever you want in your life, right? The sky's the limit, and it really is. New York City offers countless opportunities. It's just on us, and if we're willing to take advantage of this, and we're willing to push forward and make these sacrifices in life in order to accomplish what our goals are, right? I didn't think I was gonna go to John Jay when I graduated from here. When I got my bachelor's, I was like, oh shit. You know, and I remember going back and my mother was there at my graduation. It was dope because it was in Madison Square Garden. And I remember my mom seeing me and just not understanding because I don't think, you know, my mom only had a high school diploma, but I was happy she was there. And I said, you know what, we go back, we go finish get my master's. And when I finished my master's here, that she was still part of that, I was even more happy for me because it was in the theater at John Jay. And I knew that after that, I don't know if it's still here, I know it's still in the theater, but for me, it was just gratifying because, you know, a couple of years after that, my mother passed away. And, you know, with her passing, you know, it was the third stage of fatherhood that I now embarked in, which was now I didn't have the resources and the guidance that I had to fall back on to help me with my daughter. Mind you, I'm not with her mother. Her mother's in another state. My daughter's with me. And it's easy. It's not easy raising a child, single parent household. I'm going to talk to you guys about single parent household. So all these statistics and things are running through my head, and I'm thinking, what the hell? But then I read up in the new statistics come out. We're no longer parents from the past. We're now parents in the future. And with all the resources that are available and all the engagement that we put forth, that changes the outcome of our children's lives. Kids do better when we're involved, right? And that's a fact. Like I said, it says here, help find support family roles and public policies. Policies and programs should affirm and promote reasonable fatherhood. Strengthening fathers promotes strong family values and long-term cost savings by enhancing family self-sufficiency and community well-being. You know, over the years, we have lost a sense of community. You know, I remember in my neighborhood, you know, everyone knew I was Lydia's son. And I remember everyone telling my mother, yo, your son was throwing rocks at the buses, or, you know, your son was hanging on the back of the bus on his way to Katona Pool, you know, because I couldn't pay no fare. We started hopping, you know. So I remember hopping the back of the bus, my friends hanging on and just making it to the Tono Pool, and then coming home to La Chula, for those that knows what that is. Oh, I heard you was on the back of the bus. But with that said, nowadays, conferences like this allow us to bring all these stakeholders together. You know, like I said, probation, family court, criminal court, because they want to help. They don't want to be seen as the problem. So in conferences like this, they're able to see what's going on, what's changing. They're more receptive to ideas. You know, I meet with judges at least once a month, and during those meetings, we talk about what's going on, what's changing, what's being offered, and how do we promote families, wellness, right, fatherhood. And they want to know what the numbers are, right? How many fathers completed parenting class? How many fathers completed services? You know, how many fathers did we get a job for? Right now, there's a big push for fathers under 40 to get positions and jobs. That's a big grant that's going on right now. I'm looking for fathers to get everyone under 40 jobs. Right? So if you call the FATHERHOOD or Fortune Society or Forestdale, talk to them. Talk to your case managers, let them know, reach out. You don't even have to be part of a program. You can just inquire and just. And these are really good jobs. You know, whether you have a criminal background or not, that doesn't stop you from getting and leading you to be successful in life, right? But
And
before
what's the
that, you
name
do
of the
have to take.
program? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
I'm sorry.
What's the name of the program? I didn't hear the name of the
My
program.
our program.
No, the 40.
Correct.
The Fortune.
It's called the CRED program.
The CRED program.
Yeah. It was actually through our mayor. He pushed it forward. That's one of his strong points. He wants to get everybody employed, and we do too.
Yes, I want to make a little debate, I'm sure. I can't help but to see here, and, I think there's room outnumbers women right now with men, and I know we hear from fathers. And I couldn't help but to, I heard you say your mother,
Yeah.
right? And it seems like you have a pretty well upbringing. Like you talk about La Chula, and for me, I know we're all here to better socialize with our kids. And for me, it seems like your mother didn't socialize with you.
She did.
And
But
not
she had her
to,
way.
you know, not to, I want to know what, like, because you say your mother knows fathers here that are here to learn how to be better fathers, correct?
Yeah.
So I hear a lot of your mother, and I want to know, because I know like Chula wasn't your father.
No.
Like, you get what I'm saying?
But Chula was a belt.
Right, it was a belt. So I'm trying to figure out what father figure in your life that came along that, because what happens a lot is the foundation, right?
Mhm.
So if you was getting whipped a lot, right?
I got whipped 3 times in my life.
But that's not how you made it seem. You know what I'm saying? You
But
said
you came a
every
little
time.
late. You came a little late. But in the beginning of the.
But you said every time she went to La Chula, so I'm just trying to figure things out. Right?
His last butt whooping, he was 6 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're 6 years old, right?
He was 6 years old. He let a good one.
So in the beginning, first half of this class, I talked about some of the influences that I had as male figures in my life.
And we came late because it's a big loss. Right?
Security.
I'm right here. I'll escort him out.
But no, I just want to
No,
figure out,
that's a
like,
fair
who's the father figure in your life that
So
made
much,
you
yeah.
a great father to your kids?
Yeah.
Because I hear you speaking about, you know, your
So
children.
I had uncles. I had my godfather, who's a big influence. My older brother. You know, so it's indirect family members who cared about me.
And it wasn't me coming at you respectfully. Like, we all grew up on this, you know,
See,
spirit of
this
raw
is-
save the child.
This is
Right.
thick skin.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. We all grew up on the spirit of raw save the child.
And I also had my neighbors' fathers, friends'
Okay.
fathers, who also gave, they looked out, because it was a community. You know,
Yeah.
it was a sense of community. You know, now I always don't say that. You're not community fan. You know what I mean? Like, now it's changed. You know, but where there's no father, there's always family. And you don't have to be blood to be family. You know what I'm saying? One of the things I'm big on, one of the things I'm big on is my my circle. It's not that big, you know. And over the years, I've lost a lot of friends. I've lost a lot of family members to violence, and I take their life and I embody them in a sense where I won't make that mistake because I've seen how my aunts reacted to when my cousin was murdered. I see how my cousins reacted when my godfather passed away. So if there's anything I can do in this life that will kind of postpone that from happening, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna embody it. I'm gonna try to live it to my fullest. And I try to tell my daughter that as well. And that being controlling our emotions first and foremost. And I lost an uncle, I lost about 4 cousins, I lost about 10 friends because they couldn't control their emotion. And anger is something that can lead you down to somewhere where you can't come back from. Senseless, senseless killings and death. And there was a point in my life as a teenager where I just went to funerals, one after the other, for friends and families who could have just been avoided with just by walking away or avoiding, the conflict, controlling that emotion, controlling that anger, giving yourself an opportunity to process and kind of breathe and just saying, I got more things to worry about than this gentleman right here who's in front of my face who's mad because I may have looked at him for like a second, or because he just didn't want to move his car, or because he's mad that I'm holding the space for someone to park. You know what I mean? Like we are so wound up, so tight that we need to kind of give it a breather and figure out everything you have to lose and honestly what do you have to gain. At this point in my life, I'm not fighting unless I'm getting in the ring with Mayweather and I know there's some money inside to that, or Jake Paul. Other than that, I'm not fighting nobody. You could go crazy, you could shit in the train, you could do whatever you want to do. That's none of my business. I got up in the morning with the objective is going to work and coming home to my family. That's my, go to the gym sometimes. To be honest with you, transparency. The reason is nowadays it's hard to find good, decent people, right? And it's not about religion, but as Black and Latinos, we rely on religion a lot to help us with our morals and with our values. And I'm also, I utilize religion in my family to help instill that into my daughter's beliefs so that she knows that there's a higher power. Someone's always, even if I'm not watching, someone's always watching and testing you, But that may not work for everybody. I have friends who are atheists and don't believe in God. And I always tell them, so let me not get to that. So maybe a couple of drinks later. But again, that's the beauty of New York City, man. It's so diverse. It's a stew pot of just so many different people. And there's no other city like it. I've been to California, I've been around the world, many places, and there's nothing like New York City. When I get off that airport and wherever I'm at, you can just tell from New York. The Yankee hat don't help, but you just tell.
Rob, can I add one important point? I just want to add one important point that we can't forget. Sometimes a man and a woman just aren't meant to be together, right? But they still have those children or that child. And that child needs a mother and a father that can work together. Co-parenting, right? Co-parenting. And not make it all about them. The child's about both of them and both of their responsibilities. That's the thing you can't forget.
Like one of the things we always focus on when we meet with our fathers individually is where are you at? Where are you in your life? How's your relationship with the mother? Where would you want it to be? Is it possible? If it's not possible, does that mean it's the end of it? When I separated, my daughter's mother and I separated, I knew I still had a job that wasn't complete. I still knew I had to be there for my daughter. And at first it was challenging because the legal system came into play. And I knew nothing about the legal system. So I had to maneuver like many of the fathers that come to Friends for Fathers through the system, not understanding what was going on. What I heard was, you gotta get yourself a lawyer. Every lawyer I went to was like 10,000 and up, because they know how to get you, especially when you need you.
Yep.
What I did was I called her grandma and said, listen, I'll give her the 10,000. And she can do whatever she wants with it. But I'd rather give her 10,000 and give this shark 10,000 to try to help me maneuver through something that we can do ourselves. So I violated the protection that came to bite me in the ass. Because the judge was like, oh, you speaking to grandma? And you do it again, I'm gonna lock you up in Rikers for 8 months. I was like, 8 months? I said 8 months in Rikers, you crazy. What'd you say? I said, no, Your Honor. No, nothing, Your Honor. I said, 8 months. So I knew it was not a level playing field. Even though my intentions were good, I was looked at and I was being looked at like, oh, it was the worst. Yeah. So I did end up finding a program at the time who taught me anger management, taught me parenting classes, and talked a little bit about domestic violence, but it wasn't as it is today. And the case was dismissed. Everybody went their way, but I still was like, when am I gonna see my daughter? How am I gonna see my daughter? How are we gonna work this out? The mom didn't want nothing to do with me. Mom was ready to clean up. Mom was like the mother bear. And my daughter was like the pride. She was being very overprotective of my daughter. So I realized there's a family court piece. I went to family court, filed a petition for joint custody, and I went prepared. I did my little homework and I figured out I have to go prepared with the days I want to see my daughter. So I picked days, I picked weekends, I picked holidays, I picked phone calls, I picked summer recess, I picked vacation. I didn't want to go back, put it that way. We went in front of this magistrate. She said, what do you want, Mr. De Jesus? And I said, I just want to see my daughter. I want to build a meaningful relationship. I want to know who I am so that she knows she has a father here that loves her, regardless of where her mother's at. Because I know there was a chance mommy might want to go somewhere abroad. So I said, before mom decides to do that, I need to build you, right? I need to take advantage of this, because she's only going to be little for so long. Those hugs stop at a certain age. You don't become as cool. Those kisses, oh, I'll give it to my daughter give me a kiss right now, but she's like, Dad, please. There's no hugs, there's no kisses. Father's Day comes and goes, and it's cool. That's okay. I don't need all that stuff. I always tell them, when you get a house, I will be coming over. I will be leaving dishes. I will be on your sofa with my sneakers on. I will be using all your toothpaste and your soap. The detergent, I'm gonna be washing things 10 times. I'm gonna figure out how to get into your pockets, because I know you're gonna be well off. And she laughs, so I'm looking forward to that. Now, my goal is to make sure I get there. So how do I do that? Which is another part of the program that we talk about, which is health and wellness. You gotta take care of ourselves. Right? You gotta go to the doctor. Look at, one of my friends, Gotti, passed away recently, and I was heartbroken, man, because he was a good dude. He loved his kids. Understand me? I met Irv Gotti back in 98, 99. I went to his house. My friend was his barber. He would cut his hair. He loved gambling. He loved entertaining people. But he didn't take his life too serious. And now his kids are suffering. People think, oh, I got money, so they miss their dad. He had a good personality. He always meant well, and he was a giver. But he always kept family first. He didn't need no friends. He had his family. And that's one thing that we need to focus on moving forward, our health. Go to the doctor. Get yourself some medical insurance. Right? This is not a third world country where you can't get any type of medical assistance or medical insurance. Get yourself checked out. Do it for your daughter. Do it for your kids. Do it for yourself. Give yourself an opportunity, right? Because we're dying at alarming rates. Too young. Not only to the violence outside, but health-wise. Things that we can find cures from and start turning things around if we apply ourselves, right? So that's also a big part of it. Because that also teaches your kids that it's time to get a doctor. I tell my daughter, say, you going to the dentist yet? All right, schedule that. You gotta go to the doctor, go get a checkup. You know, when I talk to my undocumented fathers, they don't go to the doctor because they're afraid they're gonna get deported. Really, really. They're afraid they're gonna get deported. So they'll go to Rite Aid and get a cough medicine when they might have pneumonia. You know what I'm saying? It's not good. It's not good. You know, children are better off when their fathers are actively engaged in their lives. Fathers' love, care, and emotional support are positively linked to good social, emotional, and cognitive development in their children in terms of academic achievement, lower rate of risky behaviors, and contact with the juvenile justice system, pro-social behavior, emotional health, and healthy self-esteem. A father's stable economic contributions improve the chances that children will grow up in high opportunity neighborhoods, avoid material hardships, and avoid being homeless. Children with involved fathers have positive models in their own relationships and eventual parenting and are more likely to develop into responsible young adults. Responsible fatherhood, realizing the vision of responsible fatherhood will mean children are better off and better positioned to build their own strong families in the future. Families are better off because of fathers' love, care, and emotional and financial support. And again, taxpayers spend less when public dollars are more wisely used to support fathers' presence rather than make up for fathers' absence. Okay? The return of on the investment for responsible fatherhood is nothing short of a stronger nation for generations to come. Okay? Strengthening families, although fathers we work with are going through hardships, our model and belief in them, in addition to the level of encouragement our team provides, helps to most importantly instill belief in themselves. We want you to believe in yourself. This has to work only if you believe in yourself. And this will work if you believe. If I had any doubt as a father, I wouldn't be here in front of you today. If I had any doubt at the fact that when and her mother and I separated, that I would have been another statistic, my daughter would have been another statistic, I would have been a grandfather of like 5, 6 kids right now. But because I'm there, because I'm present, because I'm involved, because I'm trying to tackle the challenges as they come, with a clear conscience and a clear mind, I'm giving myself an opportunity for another day, right? Some of the barriers fathers and families face are cost of living, too high, right? The criminal court, the cost of incarceration is too high. Department of Probation, all services that we're familiar with, it's a business. It's a business, okay? I want to be clear. Somebody makes money off our demise, right? When the World Trade fell, who made money off that? We'll clean that insurance. He made millions, right? Whenever there's a massive crisis, somebody's gonna make money off that, right? In the juvenile justice system, a bed costs 250 grand. It's a business. Don't let your kids be part of this business, right? When you talk about effectiveness, it's only a 4, right? When the kids go through these family court, criminal court, nothing gets resolved unless we put forth, right? But when you start building partnerships with organizations, when you start linking with these judges and having meetings with them and the stakeholders like ACS and Department of Probation, foster care agency, legal services like Bronx Defenders, Legal Aid, Brooklyn Defenders, Neighborhood Defenders of Harlem, all these wonderful legal firms that are now understanding that it takes a village to raise children. They're stepping up, they're meeting with us, they came to these meetings, and they understand that it's gonna take more than just, incarcerating these kids and throwing away the key in order to help them become successful, right? So we meet with you, quarterly meetings that we have with these agencies, and we talk about some of the hardships you guys express to us. This is how we're able to convince them to go in their pockets and to give some of that legal system to agencies like DYCD so that they can kick it back to community programs such as ours and give us the opportunity to reach out to you guys and help you guys figure out what best practices need to be made. And again, some of us are different in the level of issues that we're going through. Many of us just need to pull out the nail and just plug that little tire. But some of us have bigger issues that we need to address, whether it's mental health issues, whether it's substance abuse, alcohol, drugs. You know. Somebody needs to say, hey, listen, you can do better. You know what I mean? Especially if you want to get to where you need to go to. You want a high paying job, you might have to kick back the alcohol and drug use. You know? You want to move to a better neighborhood, you might have to make some sacrifices. Instead of going to the club and spending $600 on a bottle, save that. Instead of buying 4 pair of Jordans every week, save that, invest that, right? Learn about investments. You know, we got a financial literacy class coming up in March. I hope you guys will come and make it. If you're not, sign the petition, get us your information, make sure we have your email. I'm more than happy to welcome you to come by the financial literacy workshop. Because we want to educate us. This is about time that we start becoming entrepreneurs. You know, this generation now, we've seen so many millionaires in the last 10 years than we have in the last 30, 40 years, right? Because it just wasn't happening. The rich were getting richer and the poor were staying poor. But now, with social media, you can promote your brand, you can let the world know what you're doing. It's endless, you know. So we want to be able to educate our kids and push them to be an inspiration to others. Right? You want to be able to let them know that they have a voice and they can be heard. Right? The bargain of mutual responsibility, that fathers do their part and that the government promotes policies that support their capacity to do well by their children, is paying off. More children are better off, and families, communities, and the nation are becoming stronger as a result of things like this happening. Right? We're beginning to kind of address, especially when you say that thing on the table, we're beginning to kind of bring this to the table, to the forefront, and people are paying attention. You know, now more than ever, they want to know where to put these funding to, because it has shifted. It's not about massive incarcerations like it was back in the 80s and the 90s when our parents were coming back from wars and these fathers were coming back all messed up on drugs and pills and Agent Orange and all that. You know, my uncle who's 86 has Parkinson's because of Agent Orange. He shakes and it's crazy. It's a direct result of the Agent Orange he withstood when he was young and got recruited in Puerto Rico to go fight Vietnam. You know what I mean? So we're lucky. There's no draft now, right? We're the ones that are controlling what goes on and how we move forward with our kids and with our lives. So don't waste it, right? Take the opportunity to maximize it. If they say you are an angry individual, come to us. Let's figure out why you're so angry. You know, when we get fathers that come in here and see they're upset, I don't want to do this fucking program. It's bullshit. And I don't know what you want to do. I just want to be done with this. And I want to get this going. All right, well, let's figure out what's going on. When you start meeting that person individually, because maybe a group isn't for him, you start understanding why he's so mad. He's sleeping on the floor, hasn't taken a shower in 3-4 days, hasn't had a good meal, has no stable household. You know, when it makes sense, that will make me mad. You know, our home office in Harlem on 125th has a shower, so we always talk about, yo, go get some clothes, we got clothes, go change, not to embarrass them or nothing, but we'll make them feel better. Today's another day. Yesterday, we can't go back and fix what happened yesterday, but we can go forward, and going forward means I'm not afraid to ask for support.
Looking at yesterday.
Was that?
Looking at yesterday and making changes for tomorrow.
Absolutely. That's pretty much my presentation. Any questions? By all means, and would I address something now? Sure, yes.
I wanted to say something. Now, I came from a single father family. Back then, my father, God bless his soul, he'd be 90 years old. But he died before he made it. And he He had 7 kids. My mother was mental, schizophrenia. He was taking a, I'm a Hunts Point boy too.
I was pointing.
I'm a Hunts Point.
Somebody stole your car.
Uh,
Stealing cars at 14, huh?
They didn't steal, they borrowed.
Yeah.
So, with my mother, she would go to Central Iceland all the time. And I was born in Holland. And in Holland, the whole community back in the day, gracious. You could sleep on the fire escape without even getting robbed. You could sleep in the park without getting robbed. All that changed. But ACS came to my father's door and was going to take his kids. And my father said, no, you're not taking my kids. When they needed Pampers, when they needed Carnation milk, all that, I didn't see y'all. And I didn't even see y'all donate, because he was a mechanic. He was a mechanic, and he had to work on diesel trucks at night. He couldn't do it in the morning because the truck was got to be out.
That was good money back then.
Yeah, so when they came to his house, the neighbor was watching them. She called and said, oh, ACS is up there. So he comes right on up there, he told me, no, you're not taking care. Because when they were little babies, and I was washing their diapers and putting it on, I didn't see none of y'all. Now that they can eat, now you're coming after them?
It was
No.
BCW back then.
You can't get
Now
that.
you see how BCW.
They allow him to keep us together. I got raised in a house of love.
You know what I'm saying?
And my sister, see my two older brothers mistreating me, she'll put them in check by herself. When I feel the families today is missing love.
We've forgotten how to love.
Yeah.
Many of us. Yeah. We're too busy in our own worlds. On Instagram, trying to show the world how happy we are. We're inside. We're
And
not.
doing things as a family inside the house.
Correct.
Everything starts from the family. You can blame it on TikTok, all that. But if you got a strong family, you'll think you're good. If you let them, you gotta go to work from 9 to 5, and you let them run the street or interacting with their kids, of course, you shooting the dice. But you gotta make sure that you take your time, just like you're gonna take it on that job, take it with those kids.
You know, and how do you convey that to someone who is not familiar with that? How do you tell someone you gotta give your kids love when they're not familiar with that? They don't know what that is, you know, because they didn't have that as a child.
Right.
Where do you go for that? You know, so for us, when we talk about, that's why we make it a mandate in Friends of Fathers to take parenting. And we don't really work, I hate to say, but we don't like to deny anybody, you know, but it's hard for us to work with the mother's boyfriend, where he's not the kid's father, because there's no ties to those kids. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can just walk away and the kids, you know, yeah, you're gonna be weekends with mom, but that's not your kids, you know what I mean? So there's no ties to them, whereas if I'm talking to dad, and those kids are his, we could talk about communication, making it work with mom so that mom doesn't feel threatened by you, or that, you know, what does that look like? What does the makeup of the family look like? You know, do you show love? How do you show love? You know, some fathers think just by buying the kids things, that's love. Nah, it's not. You know, spending time, quality time, right? Hugging them. I hug my daughter till she's like, oh, me. Like, my daughter just be like, oh, I just love hugging her. You know, I got a New York and I hug crap out of him. You know, it's hug dog, by the way. You know, anybody else? Yeah.
And you know, it goes back to the village.
I'm on there. Okay. Yeah, so again, my contact information is there. If anybody would like to reach out to me at our home office, any questions, and you want to come by, you want to look at our space, You have any insight, want to be part of any upcoming events? You know, we partnered up with the Bronx Borough President, Vanessa Gibson. We work with her agency, Strong Fathers. We do events throughout the year. We have softball games. We do a big picnic at FDR Pool for Father's Day. In addition to the Father's Day event that we have with USCB, so you know it's a big family fun event, and we hope to see you guys there. You know, shoot me an email, give us a call, just leave your email address, leave your phone number, your home address. We'll mail you information. We'll send you emails. You'll get tired of us because how much we're gonna want you, all you guys in our events. You have Christmas, and I dress up as Santa sometimes. Don't tell us.
Thanksgiving.
Next year I'll lose enough weight where I don't have to be the Santa.
Hey, Rob, I ain't gonna lie, you look like a little Chris Pratt.
Just one more thing. Could you please take a picture of the QR code and do a survey to show you absolutely love Robert's page and to make his presentation even more perfect than it is? And a big round of applause for him. Please.
So wait a minute, you're asking me to lie.
You guys did it.
So wait a minute, you're asking me to lie. You're asking me to lie. You're asking me to lie.
No, absolutely perfection. Make it even more perfect.
No, I have them here.
Oh, you have it? Because otherwise you can take it from there as well. Right? Did you take it? You got it? Okay, absolutely.
I'm gonna go with the bag, so I bring it back on Monday. Alright, now see you.
He's got a location in Staten
All right, y'all. I'm gonna shut this down. Appreciate y'all joining me with my friends, the Father's family. Of course, y'all know I'll be back again. Make sure you smash the like button, like, share, subscribe. Y'all know what it is. The No Dub Zone podcast. Let's go.